The one thing that I think is probably most for me living vicariously through you that is most terrifying is when you're on the space station and you talked about like putting these things together and stuff like that. Like you physically came out of the space station and you're
Hmm.
in the little white that thing behind you, you're in the suit and you're floating around like
Hmm.
okay, I think of the movie Gravity, I think of Sandra Bullock, I think of like George Clooney just like floating and just being like, all right, see
Yeah.
ya, like, you know.
Yeah.
So
That was so Titanic moment there.
it
Yeah.
was, yeah, it was. It was amazing. But uh, tell me, run me through this. Like, does each one of you have to do this, or you were like, hey, I want to go, or were they selected you? Like, how?
We all train for it. And then when the mission assignments are made, I mean, all this stuff gets divvied out, to
Really?
for whatever reason to different crew members to do different things, and just was very fortunate to get to do a spacewalk. Very thankful for it. I mean, everything about, just like you're saying, everything about being in space on a station, on the shuttle, doing surreal, total, a word you can apply to it,
Right.
right? But I would say the surrealist of it all is going out in your own little personal spaceship, crawling out the hatch, putting your tether on, crawling all over the outside of the space station, seeing all that now through this visor, that and you're like, wow, this is it between me and
Right. Yeah.
but that's going on the whole time. This what's it between me and all of that on a normal basis up there? The
Right.
hull of the space, whatever it is.
Right.
But just to have that, I think it's a much more intimate kind of thing.
Definitely.
It's a you're out there with your buddy who's in one of these suits too, so you feel that connection to someone. All the people inside the space station are there supporting you, so you feel that connection. All the mission control people are there. I mean, their whole role is not just for you to get the task done, but for you to safely
Make sure you don't.
make it
Yeah.
back inside afterwards too. And your family and friends are watching you. So it was weird to be out there like by yourself, kind of in this little suit, like the alonest you are,
Yeah. Right.
and yet feel so connected to just
That's
everyone as
incredible.
well. Really, really cool.
That isn't so when you're like out there and you're like looking up and you're just seeing like I mean, I saw a time lapse of like space and it was like comparing like all the planets and stuff, and then it pulled away from like our like solar system, and then it pulled
Mhm.
away from our galaxy, and then it showed all the other galaxies, and it pulled away from all the galaxies. And I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Like if I'm up there, if, like in your situation, like were you looking up, or do you think of that stuff and you're like, what there has the numbers are in the favor of like there has to be some sort of life or something out
Yeah.
there that's not us. Like, do you ever think like, damn, a spaceship is gonna just come by and like scoop me up, or are you just that focused on your work? Maybe even I don't know.
Well, I think when you're out on the spacewalk, there's a couple sides of it. It's like, there are times to kind of take a break and look around like, wow, that's a planet, like,
Right?
look
Yeah.
at that. I live on a planet. Holy moly.
Right. Right.
And then there's the like look out into this what seems infinite, which we're told is, space kind of
Right.
thing. But there's a diligence that goes along with that job that just, I think you first come out and you're like, oh wow, look at that big distraction down there,
Yeah.
that beautiful distraction. And they're like, okay, I gotta
Gotta do this
I gotta think
task.
about my tether, I gotta think about, my
Right.
crewmate, all that stuff. um but in the grander scheme of it, um I think you're thinking about that all the time, just like, because in your free time especially, you're going to find yourself in front of a window. I mean, that's just what astronauts do if they've got spare time.
Right.
Our heads are buttoned, floating in front of the windows,
Wow.
looking out, looking at Earth, getting it real dark in the station during a night pass, and like looking out past Earth to, and I mean, when you get it dark on the space station and it's dark outside, it's like there's this like web of stars out there. I mean,
Really?
it just looks like it goes on forever, and like you can reach into it and stuff, and
That's
everything's
so cool.
glowing and crystal clear. And it's just this like awe and wonder that is there, and I don't think you can ignore it. And yeah, you think about this connection you have to the planet, and all the people in life that share it down below with you. I mean, you feel very connected to that. But then you also, like I said, you're like, wow, that's a planet
Right.
that
That's
I'm
yeah,
on. I'm
literally.
not, I'm on a spaceship now, but that planet is in space.
That's where I live.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's like floating too. It's like,
Yeah. Rotating at what, 1,000 miles an hour
yes,
or
like
something,
what?
and spinning around the sun at 60
Like,
something
how does
thousand
your head
miles an
not explode?
hour. And
Like when you're thinking about this stuff,
yeah,
you're like, this is like crazy to even fathom.